Welcome to Pencils and Lipstick. This is a podcast for indie authors. I'm Kat Caldwell, novelist, short story writer, and book coach. Here on Pencils and Lipstick, we're obsessed with all things story, and it is my goal to bring you the writing tips that you need to make your novel. Hey everyone, welcome back to Pencils and Lipstick. This is episode 311. Now, 311 was one of my greatest favorite bands ever. Everyone should check them out. This is Craft&Connect, and I am joined with Becky Grogan. Hi, Becky.
This is our hyperactivity podcast day.
It's not as if we haven't been talking for an hour already.
See, by the time we get this thing recorded, you guys, we are just kind of, we're revved up and ready to go.
We've fixed the world.
Yes.
And now we're going to tell you guys how to fix
it. That's right. That's right. So what are we starting with today?
Today is our second part to Ideal Reader. So this is our fourth Craft&Connect. If you guys have not joined us, you definitely should. Becky has been in marketing for several different things for most of her life.
Many years.
Many years.
I started at the age of 5 and I have been going ever since.
I've been marketing that lemonade stand.
That's right. Yeah.
So as she is helping me grow and expand my knowledge of branding, I would say, I was going to say expand my brand, but it's more knowledge so that I can actually expand it, because Becky focuses now on books and writers and how they market themselves in their books. So you guys should go check out all the other Craft&Connect every third week of each month for 2026. This is our fourth. We're look at us go.
We're getting there. Well, and just we have to throw out the celebration for Kat because her new book came out. Give us the 30-second synopsis and how you're feeling and what's going on.
Oh my goodness. It's like everything comes down at once. So Next Love is a contemporary romance, closed door. By the way,
slow burn build up though.
Slow burn build up will make you feel a lot of things. So it is a grief-worn librarian who just escaped war is back in DC, and she doesn't know how to move on with her life until she meets a dentist who accuses her of snoring. And from then on, they keep running into each other. He is also trying to find his next steps, and hopefully they'll find them together.
Yes.
Stay tuned.
You've been getting good reviews. I've been hearing good reviews. There's been stuff on social media about this book. And
I'm very excited about it. I think this goes into a little bit about what we're going to talk about too, though. I think I have found my confidence, not like in my writing abilities, because I've always known that I could write, but in just authorship. And that's a big thing. And this is my 7th novel. So it's not
huge. That's huge though. I mean, because that's the biggest part. You have to acknowledge that you are a writer, and you have to acknowledge that you are capable of publishing books and that your story is valuable and transformative. And there is a reader, multiple readers out there for your story.
It's very important. And I think it goes in several steps as well. Like, many people know that I'm a writer. And then for the years, it was like, if they didn't show interest, I was just like, well, okay, I just won't talk about it because they've never shown interest. And now I'm kind of like, yeah, well, here's my book. If you don't, and I think to some people that comes naturally, that marketing idea that I would put it in that same area. But I think to some people, it does not come naturally. And I would bet women struggle with it more than men. What do you think about that?
Oh, I think that's 100% right.
I know what you were going to say.
And I think, so that whole mindset issue, what you're talking about is thinking that people don't care. Yeah. Or that, this is my 7th book. And it's like, no, that's when we're going to go back to understanding the things that fulfill you, the things that make up your brand as an author, the reason that you're doing it. And you tell them what you're doing.
Yeah.
Proudly, because it's a huge accomplishment. If you never sold a copy of your book, Kat, but you've held it in your hand and you've seen it, it's there, that is huge. And you should never not make that as important as it is. Because, and tell people, honestly, if I could say I've written 7 books, I'd be like wearing those little, things, sparklers on my head and just be so excited because that's a huge accomplishment.
I should get the ego of the DCers.
I think that's perfect. Whatever
I run
makes
the
you
State
happy.
Department. Yeah,
Put on
well,
your
I wrote
put
7 books.
put on your tiara. You deserve to put on your tiara. So I got this for Kat because look, doesn't that just perfectly match her ice princess thing? Look at that. She's
That was
perfect.
my nickname in high school. Don't
Yeah,
bring
because you
up
have those
trauma.
those beautiful eyes. But anyway, so that is such a huge accomplishment, and every writer out there needs to
Mm,
understand that you deserve to say and should proudly say that you're writing a story or you finished a story,
sorry.
you've
Yeah.
published a novel or you haven't published a novel. If you've written it, that's yours. So you
Yeah.
should be very, very proud of yourself for doing that.
And
So
that comes into building. I think it comes into building your brand. No, you can't have a brand if you're not willing to talk about it, right? Like your
right.
books. And we usually end with a mindset reset, but we were thinking about starting it today. A little bit because of, what we've just been talking about, but what were the two things that we wanted to talk about, especially because as we go through, we do realize that as we talk about brand and marketing once a month on the podcast, that it's not quite, I wouldn't say that it's not enough, but it's not an instant thing, right? It's not
It's
like,
not an intensive. It's really not an
yeah,
intensive. It's kind of high level. It's giving you a lot of information, and we always want to provide value. But, just as with each pillar, there's a lot more to learn about it.
right.
Um, but the premise is there that this is your foundation, your brand, understanding your core values, knowing who your ideal reader is and how to reach them. And then the third pillar, which we will get to at another time, is the content and the strategy for messaging your ideal reader.
Yeah.
But the mindset is huge. And as I talk more and more to writers and I talk more and more to coaches, that mindset is such a stumbling block. So there's so many things that go through writers' minds, and it's not just writers, it's all of us, because
Mm-hmm.
we're never as confident as we want to be. We
Right.
never give ourselves enough credit for whatever reason. But one of the things that I hear writers say, and Kat and I were talking about this, was um, I'm not as interesting as other people. Why would people care about me as a writer? So I said this in kind of like in a very flip manner, but it's like, well, if you don't think you're interesting, why would a reader think you're interesting? Because
Right.
it's not true. You are
Right.
relatable. You are human. You have special things about you, and every one of us does. And that comparison part of it is just it's hard to get by. We
Mm-hmm.
all do it. But when you understand your core values and what makes up your brand, there should be less and less of that because you're feeling confident about knowing who you are as a writer, a person, what themes run through your book, why you write what you write. Um, and then the other people just kind of don't matter, but you are interesting. And the thing that your ideal reader wants to do is relate to you.
Right.
So, you know,
And if you're writing a book, you're interesting. Like
you are very
the only
interesting.
people not interesting in this world are people who just sit in the corner somewhere. And actually, I would want to know why they're just sitting
That's
in
right. So why are they sitting in the
the
corner?
corner.
There you go.
Why
We're
are they
back
sitting
to
there?
that. Why do they do what they do?
Yeah. I think this
And
goes a little bit into like just, I don't want to say jealousy, but comparison and kind of women, especially because you and I
yes.
are both women, talking to women of, when I was in college, I have this friend, Genoa. She's bubbly and she's beautiful and she is like fills the room when she walks in. She's just
Mhm.
one of those, everyone wants to be around her. I always wanted to be around her. And it gets to the point where you're like, you want to be her. Wouldn't my life be easier if I was like her? Right.
Yes.
And that's, I think, sometimes when we see social media or other people who are usually ahead of us on the marketing game, if only I could be like her. And really, what you and I were talking about before is like, you got to be you because that's who
Mhm.
I want to be friends with. It's impossible that you don't have friends. Like they like you for who you are, not because you're putting on an act every
Right.
day.
And it's the realness of you that makes you relatable and makes people want to connect with you because, I don't care. And I have several friends just like the one you described. Beautiful, long legs, whatever, all these things, personality, smarts, whatever. But there's nobody on this planet that doesn't carry something that you don't see on the surface.
Mm,
We see and perceive what that person wants us to perceive.
mhm.
And behind a lot of that bubbliness sometimes is a lot of pain, a lot of trauma, and a lot of hurt. We all
Right.
carry it,
Yeah.
right? So that was something that I used to say to my mom, we always had enough, but we didn't have an abundance of things that there was no waste in our family. And we were very happy with that. It was fine. But then as I started getting into high school, I started seeing the kids that lived in a better neighborhood, the ones that had Izod and, whatever brands were popular at the time. And I'd go to their house and it was like,
Oh,
I had one friend, they had a pink toilet in their powder room. And I was like,
wow.
and
How
I told my mom, I'm
is
like,
that a possibility?
I'm like, Mom, they live on a golf course and blah, blah, blah,
Oh,
and blah, blah, blah. And she was like, stop. And my mother she was raised, both her parents were Hungarian immigrant, and they were very grounded. And she said, you don't look at that. Don't think that their life is perfect. You're only seeing it for just a brief period of time. You're
yeah.
not living in that house. You don't know if they scream all the time or, they have issues of abuse or whatever. She's like, everybody's got something.
Yeah.
So don't think that there's a perfect family or a perfect person out there because we all carry stuff.
Yes.
So, and those are the things that, when you write, whatever you write, what the themes are that are coming from inside you, that's relatable. That's unique. That's you.
Absolutely.
And that's
Absolutely.
interesting,
And it's interesting.
Yeah, I hope that people find that because I love beagles so much, that that's interesting.
Yeah.
Probably not. But people who love beagles do because we understand how goofy they are and whatever.
Yeah.
That's kind of a stupid example, but you guys know that my brain kind of goes all over. Squirrel. Okay. So anyway,
He's chasing the squirrel. Wait, I've
yes,
got a
wait.
beagle and a squirrel.
I have to stop looking out the window because all of a sudden I'm like, what? Okay.
But this
So
goes
anyway,
into our ideal reader because if you, I think if you don't find yourself interesting, you're not going to find your ideal reader interesting. So this comes back a little bit to like working on ourselves. It's a little bit of a confidence game. And, you and I both understand where that's coming from. Like, this is, I think women throughout their lives have several crises of like,
yeah.
am I interesting? Whether you're with babies, whether you're retiring, you feel a little bit pushed to the corner, right? Like, and this is usually in the beginning of publishing books. Like, this is most likely a new territory. So like,
Yes.
you're overwhelmed. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of new, but you are still interesting. But I think if you flip it a little bit and think, if I don't find myself interesting, how am I going to find my ideal reader interesting? Because more likely than not, they're very much
That's
like you
me. Yeah.
because
Yeah.
they want
And
to
so
read your stuff.
that's probably why, and I know we're talking about finding your ideal reader this week, but going back to that, you're understanding your core values and being comfortable with you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, why do you do what you do? Why do you write what you write? Why do you feel what you feel?
Mm-hmm.
And that comes from understanding the things that are really important to you, where you draw a line in the sand, what you will and will not do. What are your boundaries? What what makes you write the things that you write?
Yeah.
Um, and that can be a little uncomfortable, you
Yeah.
know, understanding, and if somebody's because I'm goofy. I am goofy and I'm creative and all of those different things, but I can probably create chaos, which is funny because I can't live within chaos, right? So I have to understand that I need that structure and I need to know boundaries for myself. Otherwise, I am just like, "Ah, I'll bring it back, chasing squirrels all over the place, starting a
Yeah.
hundred different things, not finishing anything, because I'm not giving myself that framework that I need to live a little quieter
Yeah.
because I need that.
Yeah.
If you've got all these ideas constantly running around in your head and you are thinking of 100 ways you could do 100 different things, you can't obviously do all of those. at one time. So giving
Or
myself,
at any time.
or at any time, but giving myself structure and giving myself things that I know I have to accomplish in a day or try to accomplish in a day. And, I work from this time to this time. I know I'm not an evening person, so I'm not even going to try to do 100 things in the evening
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
It won't work
Yeah.
for me.
Right.
But everybody else does it and seems to do a brilliant job at it. And I'm like, well, I need to do that. No, I don't.
No,
I
this is
can't,
like, yeah, no, I
can't do it.
2 weeks ago I was talking about on the podcast just this productivity in the writer space. It has a lot of times been hijacked by men, not hijacked, but they had like the corner, the majority of the writing space. And there's a woman, oh, I feel like her name is Courtney, but anyway, I follow her on Instagram. This is terrible. I should know who she is. She had a reel where she said, "Let me tell you the secret about my productivity and how it's gotten better over the years. My kids grew up." And I was like,
Yeah.
that is the truth for females in this world. For any,
Yeah.
like, if you have kids or if you are a caretaker in any way, that's the trick. Because let's face it, most of us who are
Mhm.
writing as women, we have another job, like whether it's taking care of kids or adults in your life or caretaker usually falls to us. If it's a full job outside as well on top of that, that's even more. So yes, if you keep listening to people without understanding your core values and who you are, and you think that you have to do it like them because that's how they're doing their things, you're going to drive yourself insane. And I know that because I did it for years.
We all do it. Yeah, we all do it. And I think there's no harder job than momming. Being a mom is so many different things. And I stayed home with my son when he was smaller, and it was so rewarding, but it was so hard.
Mm.
And I said, I'm coming from a background, I'm doing corporate marketing. I've got all of these things going, and there's a bit of a glamour to it. You're forward facing, you're doing blah, 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 blah. And I said, and now I'm at home with this little creature, and all he does is throw up and cry and other unmentionable things. And I'm not showering. I'm like completely
Mm-hmm.
dedicated to this small little human
Right.
that I love unconditionally, but sometimes makes me want to just ball up in a corner and cry.
Right.
And I had no idea, but I also had so many expectations for myself. Like, oh, if I'm staying home, I've got to make sure my house is spotless and I can, create dinner every day and it's going to be, like I was some kind of Martha Stewart super mom. And then I was like, well, I'll work from home because I was feeling like I
I'll
wasn't
add one
enough,
more
right?
thing to my plate.
I couldn't do it. I could not do it. And I finally had to say, because my friends would come and visit and they'd be like, because we lived by the ocean or by the coast, not by the ocean, but they'd come to my house and there'd be flowers in the bedroom. The sheets would have been, no kidding, ironed with lavender. There'd be magazines, there'd be candy. I would tell the whole meal thing was prepped for the entire weekend, everything. And I had my friend a couple years into this, she brought in her fiance and she said, I told him that the sheets will be ironed and the blah, blah, blah. And then she said, you didn't do any of that. And I was like, nope, Martha left the building. Sorry. I'm assuming you're coming to see, and I'm like getting all defensive about it. I'm like, I'm assuming you're coming to see us and to visit. Does it matter if the sheets are ironed? I mean, it was like, no, 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 no.
Never mind. Wait,
It's
but
fine. It's fine. But that was a hard place for me to get to because I felt less.
yeah,
Like,
and
what's your excuse for not
that was
being able to
before
do all of
social
this?
media. Imagine if you had been able to show everybody your perfect life social media. It does come to with a price, with that personal price, right? And when you're willing to step back and be like, who am I doing this for and why am I doing this and why am I driving myself insane? So
Yeah.
on top of that, anyone trying to make the perfect book, do the perfect marketing, everyone's doing it like this. I have to constantly go check people's followerships and be like, Yeah, they have like 80 times what I have. So obviously, like reminding myself where people are, what they're doing, and not, like you
Yeah.
said, like not the comparison. You weren't Martha Stewart. Because guess what? Martha Stewart had a team of who knows how many people.
Yeah. And I was like, I don't want to go to jail. I don't want to be cooking in a jail.
What insider trading? What?
That was yeah, but the pressure
Only a
you put
certain
on
age
yourself.
understands that joke right there.
Yeah, I know. Sorry, I'm old. But the thing is, when you get to, and I'm taking it back to the core values again, so we can
Mm.
shift this back. When you
Yep.
realize what is important and what is not, that is a weight lifted off of your shoulder. Because you know what? I still am a good cook. I can still iron sheets if I want to. I choose not to. My time is better spent with my son and with my husband, with my dogs, with my friends. And you know what? They really didn't care if there was dust on my floor. I cared about it, not
Mhm.
them. And only because I thought they would think less of me.
Mm. Yes.
So, it's kind of like I had somebody say, this is how bad I was. I had somebody say, if she died, don't let Becky go in her house until somebody comes in to clean it because I don't want Becky to see what my house looks like. And I'm like, oh my God, that's awful. Because in other people's houses, I had no judgment. I didn't care. I only
That's
cared about
funny.
what they thought about me.
Yeah,
So
she was not understanding. Yeah.
no, and it's like I'm really not, I don't care. I could care less. And so that really was like,
Right, 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 right.
that's not who I want to be. That's not who I am. But I felt those outside pressures to be this wonder woman, wonder person, wonderful in everything, clothing, makeup, hair, clean house, the child's, I got to the point with my kid, I was like, you know what? Run around naked. I don't care. You're fine. You're healthy. I'm watching you. You're having fun.
They do it in Thailand.
If my mother was alive, she would be like horrified. But you know what? It doesn't, what matters is that my kid knows he's loved and he's safe
Yeah.
and he's got a foundation.
Yes,
But
for
that's a lot that is hard to come to grips with. And
sure.
that's why I said to somebody, I wish somebody would have told me about core values 25 years ago
Yes.
because I probably would have been
If you guys are
less
new to
crazy
listening, you need to go to the first. We'll just put the links in the show notes again because we did talk about core values in the first Craft and
too.
Connect, and there
Yeah.
is a whole worksheet on how to find your core values, and it's really, as you said, and people can listen to that episode, but it's really about what is important to you, not necessarily like who you want people to see your brand as. That's not the point
Yeah.
of them,
No, it's
right?
you are your brand.
I
And
mean,
so
as
what
authors,
you
we are a
truly
brand,
are, yeah, what you truly are is who your brand is. And the things that matter to you and the stories that are important to you are the things that you're writing about, the things
right?
you know. Now,
Right.
your stories can be romantasy, they can have world building, they can have all of these things, paranormal, magical stuff. I don't have any magic in my life necessarily, but I love to read about it. But there's still in all of those things, you come through. The
Yeah,
things that are important to you, the themes, the transformations, um, the things that happen to the people, to the characters in your book, they come from you.
yeah,
And so understanding who you are, I think, and again, this is my opinion, there's a lot of ways to do this, but to me, this is how you really build that foundation is understanding why you do what you do. Who
yeah.
are you? Why are you doing this?
What's
Why
important?
is it important? And why do you have to tell these stories? Because you
Yeah,
you have a message. You have a voice that you are putting out there. Makes you
right.
vulnerable. But that vulnerability or that story you're telling, those characters you're creating are coming from you, and that's who your ideal reader wants to
Wants
know.
us now, and
And you are interesting. You're very interesting.
well, once you go through this whole list, you feel like okay. I think it is just it is it's telling yourself that, like, kind of not letting yourself say that lie and believe it. Like, and I think a lot of that comes from fear, right? Like, oh, I'm just not, I don't want to do the work to do
Yeah.
this. But here's the thing that you and I have talked about, and I talk about on the podcast a lot, is like making these decisions on purpose. And when you have your core values, whatever happens in this kind of crazy world where people are allowed to have their vocal opinion about you or your books or your whatever is happening, like
Mm-hmm.
out there in public, like that, this
Yeah.
is a new thing that is humans are not using properly, right? But the more that you do that, I do my things on purpose. These are my core values of who I am, of what I see as important. If somebody bashes it or makes a snarky comment or something, it doesn't matter to me. Like
Yeah.
it really, but if you're trying to be something for other people for and trying to fit into that place, then it's going to matter to you because you're going to feel like you didn't do it right. Whatever that is, it's so nebulous, right? So when
Yeah.
we're trying to like, even if you're writing to market, like even if you're trying to sort of do that quick writing, getting out in front of people, make it, sell quick, if you know who you are and you're writing from the authentic person, you're still going to be happy with the book that you're putting out there. It's when you don't know who you are and you're writing kind of whatever you think other people might like.
You're mimicking somebody else that you see as
Yes.
being successful, and it probably doesn't fit you
And
because
people
it's
are going
not
to
who you
see
are.
it's not who you are. People are going to see it because humans know that. Like that's a gut reaction, right? Like we're like, "Ooh, I
Mhm.
don't know that." Eventually they'll get it. And you know what? That's going to hurt because you're not going to know what you did wrong. I don't feel like I do anything wrong if somebody doesn't like my book. I didn't do
You
anything
shouldn't.
wrong. You just don't like my book. So there's
And
there's that
yeah.
mindset shift, right? Where you and this
Mhm.
goes into ideal reader as much as people might not be thinking it does as they listen to us. But if you know who you are, then you can know who your ideal reader is. And when somebody unsubscribes from your list, you
It's
won't
okay.
care
It's
because you're
okay.
still looking, okay, we're not the right fit. They're not my ideal reader. I'm looking for this specific person. How
Yes. And
can
the
you know
message that I have for my ideal reader, it's not a message for you,
for 8 billion people?
Petunia, or whatever your name is, and it's not personal. That's the other
No.
thing is we tend to take everything so
Oh,
very
gosh.
personally. And there's a lot of popular writers that I don't read because I don't like the way they write. And that's okay. I would
Yes.
love to sit down and talk with them. I'm sure they're lovely people.
Yes.
You
Yes.
know, it's
Yes.
just I'm just not interested in the topic or the whatever it is, and that's okay because I don't have time to read everybody's books.
We can
Just
only read so many books.
I can
And
only read so many.
yes,
But
and that's just the thing. And they would be silly to be running after you as an ideal reader if you're just like, it's just not my thing. Like we were talking before, like Nora Roberts versus Danielle Steele, and you're more of a Nora Roberts fan. It would be crazy for Danielle Steele to care so much that she put
about
tons of
Becky
energy
Grogan,
into thinking Becky needs to read her book and like her book. Is like, I don't have anything against you personally. I just prefer Nora Roberts, and whatever. It's not
and
personal.
there are enough readers to go around. That's the
Literally,
thing.
literally,
Don't be afraid that there's not enough people to read your book because
there
there
are.
are enough people to read
Thank
everyone's
goodness.
books.
It's like
Yes.
music. We all can listen to lots of different things.
Yeah.
So, should we I mean, we can put the worksheet in the show notes, but last week we did start the conversation about ideal readers, like what they are, how
Yes.
how to define them, I guess. And so we don't really want to
Yes.
go into that too
No.
much.
So
People can go back and
we're
listen.
starting this episode now that we've gone through that wonderful mindset reset, which I have a hard time saying. So
I know. I
anyway,
don't know why we named it that.
like what? I wanted to do marketing mindset. That's a little bit easier, but mindset
Actually,
reset. Okay. Whatever you all want to call it, it's fine. Just,
it
you
makes
know,
us concentrate.
yes. Just know that you are interesting and you are worth connecting with, and your stories will do that
Yes.
with the right ideal reader. So
Yes.
last time we talked about identifying that person, that reader that
Mhm.
is there for the type of work that you're putting out and being very specific about that. And so then once you do that, people are like, well, where am I supposed to find them?
Valid
So
question.
that's what we're going to talk about today. And
Yes.
there will be an exercise where I'm reading this every year, where to find your ideal readers. That will be in the show notes. And it's also, I have a free resource page now on my website at
Ooh,
BeckyTheBookCoach.com. You can go and all of the podcasts are there. There's some additional podcasts. There's
look
also,
at you.
yeah, there's a bunch of free resources. Download them and use them.
I knew
So
you were doing stuff on your website. I didn't realize you were doing that much. Oh,
very slowly
hey,
and with a really big learning curve.
I know it's
So you'll
horrible.
have to understand. I mean, I have been doing marketing for a long, long time, and there's a lot of things that I'm good at when it comes to marketing. But there's a big difference between corporate marketing and being an entrepreneur and doing marketing
And doing
when
your
you're
own
one
website.
person. Because I cannot pick up the phone and go,
You can't
IT,
delegate.
I need a new landing page. Because IT is like the beagle laying on the bed who's not even back there today.
He's like, what?
It's like, what? Yeah, so there's nobody. It's just like me and Veronica, my other personality. And I keep looking over at her and she's got no answers.
She's also
So
not doing anything.
she's not doing anything either. So, we all have things we're good at. We all have things that are strengths. We have things that are weaknesses. I get very stubborn and I want to learn how to do something I don't necessarily like to ask,
Mm.
but I have learned to ask. And Kat's like, yes, Becky, that is a thing. Okay, Kat, I'll I'll get somebody to help
Yes,
me
you
with that.
have to ask them because she
It's
asked me something this week and I said, I have no idea. You have to ask that other person.
Kat got it. Okay,
She's like,
so
dang it.
you know, but the thing that I like is that I will continue to be curious. I will continue to
Mhm.
try to learn new things
Yes.
because it's important to me. Um, and that's is what it is. So anyway, now I have this page on my website
For
and I've continued to add things to it. It'll probably like blow up 3 or 4, maybe 5 times. And
we will all be patient. It's fine. We are going to benefit from your stubbornness and
you can
determination.
go there and be like, that page is broken. Hey, Becky.
It's okay.
Okay, thank you.
I went on my page the other day and was like, oh, that link doesn't work. So, yes, we are all here. So, when we say this,
We're all in this one space where we're learning
the
and we're
same spot
figuring things out. You know, it's what we do. We're
together.
humans.
So, we
We
never
cannot be
expect
perfect.
all, exactly. And we never expect all of you listeners to get all of your stuff done today. Obviously, we're trying to, we are giving you a lot of information. And as you can hear, we're still working on ours. So,
And the one thing I was talking to someone today, actually it might have been you, Kat. I don't know.
you've had a full
Saying
day though.
it's been a day. When I've been saying that, there is so much information associated with marketing, so
Mhm.
much. And it's very easy and I do it. I do this all the time. I talk and talk and talk and talk and talk, and I'm like giving you all this information, and I'm sure people are shutting down going, "Oh my gosh, how am I supposed to take all this in?" So just understand that you just make it into little bite-sized pieces.
Right.
You look at these exercises, you listen to the podcast, you ask questions, you can always email. There's a lot of resources out there, and Kat and I are really dedicated to wanting to give you things that you can go to and use and reuse, and that these are resources that are vetted. There's a lot of programs and things out there. This is a work in progress for us. But we do feel very strongly that, when you're sitting there at your desk and you're like, I don't know how to do XYZ.
Yeah.
Hmm. I wonder if Kat or Becky have something that will give me a little bit of some information about that topic. We won't be able to cover all of them, but we're always open to suggestions. We know a lot
Yes,
of people. We know a lot of
we
coaches.
do.
We know a lot
Actually,
of
we
writers.
can find you guys somebody.
We can find you stuff, but and that's part of the collaboration
Hmm.
and working with each other. Nobody wants it to be harder than it already is.
No kidding. Do
And
not, writers, do not try to do this all by yourself. It is a lot.
and
It's
just having when I know I was talking to Kat about this, was that
fun.
having people that understand what you do, other writers, coaches, friends that actually get what you do, because I have a lot of people, they're like, I don't know what you do. It's like, all right, whatever. But people that can support and collaborate with you,
Yeah.
it's very important to not isolate yourself and not think that what you are trying to do isn't valuable, ask for help,
Hmm.
because people are always willing.
Yeah.
For the most
Yes.
part, they are very
You do
willing to
have to
help
ask.
you.
Exactly.
Yeah,
You have
and
to.
get yourself a couple of people that are accountability buddies, partners, somebody just to vent to. And one of my very best friends, she's like, I don't want you to talk. I just want to say this.
I
Like,
just want you to hear me out.
okay. Because, I go into coaching mode, which I try not to do with my friends. Happens anyway, because I've always been this kind of person. But um, she's like, and I'll go, "Ah," and she's like,
Yeah.
no,
No,
okay,
I don't want you to
just,
fix it. I just want you
I
to.
don't want you to fix it. I just want you to let me vent. And she does it loudly and proudly. Um, then then she can think about it. She has to clear out her mind. So
Right.
I
She's got to
encourage
clear out her mind.
anybody that's writing, just have somebody there. And you can create a group. You can put it out there and say, hey, I write romantasy. Anybody else writing romantasy, doing their first, second, third, fourth book that wants an accountability partner or wants, an ear.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
you're not by yourself. Oh,
Yeah.
wait, that just veered off topic. But anyway, I think that that is very important because we all need people.
We do. Well, and that's actually where you're going to find some of your ideal readers too, though, isn't it? When you
Mhm.
find
Mhm.
somebody who is writing in your genre and sort of at the same spot, even writing. And I know, like, I say that hesitating because, on one hand, when you're looking for your ideal reader, there's a couple different things that where we can go. Like we have to go collaborate with other authors, and they have to be authors who are a little bit higher, like be further along than us, obviously, like they have a list that's a little bit bigger. And I think sometimes authors are shy about approaching them. Or, what's great is that we
Mhm.
have Book Funnel, we have this new one that I just found, Book Clicker, we have Story Origin. And so you can find other lists to collaborate with. That's a collaboration. But at the same time, don't be shy. Like, don't be shy to ask to collaborate with people, but also don't be shy to make your own group wherever that is, wherever you hang
Yeah.
out, and to ask and see if you guys, if you have, you know, four writers that write cozy mystery, mystical romance, and you all have 50
Wow.
people on your list. I know I just made up a new genre, whatever
It's
that
nice.
is. I kind of want to read that. And they're 50 different people. You have 250 people, that
Yes.
you can collaborate with. And that's where we all start. Literally,
And
I
that's
started with
and
10 on my
that
list.
that is how you expand your reach. That's how you
Little
expand your reach.
by
And you
little.
do it for each other,
Mm-hmm.
and it will work, and it will keep
It
you
will.
from being so alone on your writing island.
Yes.
And I think, if I've said this before, but I think the culture of indie authors and traditional published authors has changed some in the last few years. I know I had an experience with a writer a few years back that did not want to share anything about how they did their books, how they got through because they were afraid that somebody was going to steal their readers,
Oh,
or
wow.
somebody was going to steal an
That's
idea.
very unusual, though.
Or I think so too. And I was a little bit surprised. Um, but it's not like that.
No, it's
I
really
mean,
not. That's
that's a
that's kind of
personal, that's kind of like
a
a
very
quirky
strange
thing for this
happening.
specific author.
Yeah.
But for the most part, and actually I think that that has changed for that person in the last few years too. I
Yeah.
think there's been, because the culture is, let's help, let's
Yep.
collaborate, let's work together, because again, we all don't have the same ideal reader.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
and you obviously, as romance readers, as readers in general, I read a lot of different stuff.
Hmm.
So I will read every subgenre except the mafia stuff. I'm not really great with that. That probably is a family thing. I have got some
Your
ancestry.
Italian family. Wait, this is my Uncle Pat. What?
Like, oh no,
That's a little
that's
too close
great,
to
Uncle,
home.
whatever his name was. But yeah, so I like to know a little bit about what's going on in other subgenres, because if I'm reading rom-coms, I can only read so many before I'm like, oh, I need to switch to something else.
Hmm.
So you don't have to just pair up with somebody that's exactly doing the same thing that you're doing, but similarities are great because if you're swapping newsletters, then, again, because we talk about you want good ideal readers, not general readers,
Mm-hmm.
because you're just throwing that spaghetti out there and it's not sticking to anything.
Right. There
Um,
are some things that you want to look out for, right? Like if you're a sci-fi writer, you're probably not going to swap with contemporary romance.
right.
It's just
And
no.
yeah,
It's really
and it's
not going
just
to work for you.
and everybody's going through this process of trying to learn how to do their marketing, what's going to work for them, what is comfortable, what is not. And again, it goes back to you do not need to do everything, and you need to be strategic when you have an opportunity. And one of a coach slash writer that we know um, wanted to do, she did a lot of work on a newsletter or some type of lead magnet to be shared with another writer coach who was in a totally different genre and
Mm-hmm.
had a ton of followers.
Mm-hmm.
But not one of those people was going to follow this coach writer because it had nothing to do with what she writes.
Yeah, that
Now,
is that is whether you're a writer or coach, that ideal audience. I think that we can get caught up in the American celebrityism idea, right? We see the followers. I really and I follow people that I know, and I have to remind myself I can't copy. I can't like sort of imitate or get inspiration from their stuff because we have different ideal readers. It has nothing to do with, I still like following them. I still like reading
mhm,
their stuff. But yes, if I try to get Stephen King to share my books, it's going to be worthless, like
yeah, because nah, that
his
wouldn't work.
his readers would be like, where is the liver eating madness person in these books? Like, no, that's
The liver eating madness.
I
That's
don't know
just crazy.
the horror.
We have to switch. I just have to tell y'all something really funny because I'm watching Kat play with her earrings, and if you're just listening, you can't see, but she's always she and I are both twitchy. We're flipping the hair, we're twisting the rings, we're doing something.
You
So
really should see us on YouTube.
before we started taping, she's really like fussing with her ear, and then she goes, "Oh, she had two earrings in one ear."
It's
I
like
was like,
everything's
"Yes."
clinking a lot on this side of my.
See, that's as moms, we run around doing 100 different
Ooh,
things and all of the things. So that was pretty
all of the
funny
things.
because I tend to think I'm the only one that does stuff like that. I have gotten my ring caught on a doorknob before and like jerked myself back into the room. How I did that, I don't know, but so stuff like that to me
Like
is that's
ripping
pretty
your,
funny.
yes, I know. Like
Yeah,
the
yeah,
different door handles in the houses, they must have been created by men because I don't know the amount of times I get my like when I'm wearing the oversized and I'm like
yep,
pulled
yeah.
backwards, whatever. I blame men for everything.
Yeah,
But
and see, one of the reasons why I would be Kat's ideal reader and why I like being around her is she was talking about leaving the doors open, the cabinet doors open and hitting them in with your head. And I did that in my laundry room one year and I knocked myself onto the floor and I wasn't knocked out, but I hit it so hard I saw stars and I went down and my husband and my son are like,
did you not see the door you just left? I've done
close
it
the
so many
door. I'm
times.
like, and of
So
course
many
I'm
times.
going to dramatize it. I'm like, oh my God, I hit my head so hard. And they're like, get up. Like,
Are not
okay.
nice. Oh, I've had many times. I'm like, what's that bruise from? Oh yeah, it must have been from when I hit my
Fuck
head.
yeah, all the time. But
All
anyway,
right. So we are each other's ideal readers. So where can we
yeah.
find our ideal readers? Again, we want to do some collaboration with authors
Mhm.
who
We
are
want to
in
collaborate. Yep.
the same sort of vicinity. In romance, this would include like contemporary romance, but possibly looking into the niche of whether it's spicy versus not spicy. And that is really a personal decision on what kind of list you're going to build. That's personal. Um, but that again might go into sort of the same thing of like sci-fi versus fantasy. That's, you might mix it, you might not. You might stay far away from it. You're probably not going to go sci-fi cozy mystery. Like that's not going to work out well.
I can't even imagine what that would be,
I don't either.
really.
It was like what I have heard about sci-fi mysteries, and so that
Although
even
our friend Angie, who writes cozy romance could probably do a sci-fi cozy
She
mystery. I
does
bet
like,
she could write it.
I
She
like
does really good stuff.
cozy
Anyway,
fantasy, paranormal.
so
Yeah.
when you're looking for your ideal reader, there's some obvious places that you could go, and these are all in the exercise sheet that's going to be in the show notes. So of course you can look at Goodreads groups. You can go on Amazon, also read. So if you go to find a book like Cats and you loved her book, then you go, oh, also reads, so you can find out where these people are. Book fairs and festivals. Where are they
Those
buying the
are
book?
actually the best.
Mhm.
And that is like getting out of your, we should all do something that scares us every once in a while, right?
Get out of that comfort zone.
Get out of that comfort zone. And it's not easy. There are times like a few weeks ago that it just like it was a complete flop for me. I met some really great people. Book wise, didn't find my ideal reader there, but you never know. Um, and that it's also good to figure out where your ideal reader is not. I mean, nothing.
Well, yeah. So you can also, the book fairs are really great. I think
Yes.
that's, you can really see who's reading what and who's buying what. Um, I'm a big proponent of supporting indie bookstores, and they are coming
Yep.
back and getting stronger. I'm seeing more and more that are opening. But if they have a newsletter,
Yeah.
this means you do have to introduce yourself to the owner or the manager or someone,
Yeah.
and say, I'm Kat Caldwell, and these are the books that I write. Do you have a newsletter that you might be able to let me put in a little blurb about my books?
Yeah. It is interacting with people. And sometimes, and the
Mhm.
more you do it, I will say this again, if you haven't ever heard me say it, the more you do something, the less scary it is. I clicked something and you went away. All right. So
Okay.
a couple years ago, writing an email, because I will say with indie bookstores, a lot of them have forms to fill out because they don't want you coming in, but you can be involved in their store. You can go to events, you can talk to them and buy books from them and be part of it, which
Mhm.
is going to benefit you. But sometimes, you kind of want to just, there's like a romance only bookstore, 50 minutes away, and you think, okay, well, I'm going to fill out the form. It used to really like, oh my goodness, filling out that form and then getting the response back. And I would say it's 50-50 whether they will take your book on or not take your book on. But the more you do it, the less personal it feels. They all have to choose their inventory. And so and the better you get at it. So even at the in-person book fair I went to, that was not great for me. For my ideal reader was not there. I went into an indie bookstore, chatted with them, played Uno, like had a good time. They, told them that I was a writer, which 5 years ago I never would have, and this is all the more that you do it. And now they have my books in their store. So
Yeah.
you have to do it. Remember when you had to apply for your first job as a 14-year-old and how scary it was to talk to those adults? It's like the same thing, you are putting
Well,
yourself out there and they might say no.
and they have done research. You're
Yeah,
not going to open
they
up
know.
an indie bookstore without knowing
Hopefully not.
what is popular. Well, hopefully not. What genre is selling, and as they own the store for longer and longer, these are things that they know. So, walking in there and going, I write cozy mystery. What do you sell the most of? Oh, cozy mystery.
Right.
Is
Be
there an
part of it.
opportunity
Yeah.
for me to meet some of your readers, to talk about my book?
Yeah. A lot of them want to know if you um want to do an event there. But
Mhm.
here's one point that you have to understand. It's kind of like when you were applying for that podcast. What do you want to do as the event? That is the question that they will ask, which in the beginning was surprising to me. I was like, well, I don't know, whatever you want to do. No, you need to come up with what you think would be a great event. What are you, and you're going to have to then follow through on that, right? So whether you want to do a workshop, whether you want to come in, bring in other writers, that is a great way to do it. I've actually done that with another writer here, a little less scary, right? People can come in and ask the local romance writers. If you want to do a signing, be aware that you have to do your marketing for that too, like bring it in. So
Yeah.
getting in there, talking to them, being part of the store, being visible, um, and knowing that they might say no because maybe they don't stock cozy mystery. And
But you need to know that,
you need to
and
know
and when we're
that.
talking about this, these are things that if you are someone who does not like social media, if you don't want to be on TikTok and you don't want to be on Facebook, you know, getting to know the people in your community that you can be face to face with. And I'm not saying you have to be best friends with them. I'm not saying, you're doing something with them every week, but people are more likely to go to what they know. So
Mhm.
if I own a bookstore or I'm a librarian and I know that Kat is doing this, this, and this, and I know that she's nice and she's approachable and she, looks at things with an open mind, who am I going to call? Am I going to call Kat or I'm going to call somebody that, I have no idea what they're about?
Mhm.
And will I look at this because Kat is then a resource, right? So am I going to look at this resource and go, oh, I know Kat can do this and she can do this and she can do this. So if I need to put out an event or I need to do something for the Friends of the Library, whatever it is, Kat can fill a couple different slots. So most likely I'm going to have her do a couple of different things. And
Mhm.
that's just more exposure and visibility for that particular author.
Yeah.
Um,
Do not
and
in the day and age of social media, do not neglect your local community to
yeah,
find those readers. Because I mean, somebody was just saying the other day of like how the average American reads 10 books a year. And really it's a little bit inflated because some people read like 100. So
yeah.
they're thinking like most people read 5. Well, the majority of the people who read a lot go to the library.
Yes, because you can't afford to buy all these books that you want to read.
Yeah.
And yes, I read a lot on my Kindle, but I've noticed within the last 2 years, I want to hold the book.
Mm-hmm.
I want that feeling again. I want to be able to hold it in my hand. There's some kind of connection there. And I resisted for a long time having a Kindle, like really resisted for many years. But I had so many books in my house, and the lady at the used bookstore was like my best friend.
She's like,
I'd come in
Becky, I
there
have
with
your book.
like, 50 books, and she'd go, well, you have $35 credit. I'm like, oh my God, I'm like
Let me add
going in.
more.
Yeah, so that's building that rapport, and this is what you want your ideal readers to do with you. So if
Yes.
you are comfortable with that, start building some rapport and connection with people
At
that,
least start somewhere, right? Start at your
yes,
local library. Because here's the thing, too. Like you do an event with them, or you do something with them, or like, is there? It took me 3 years to get into a local author event through the library because it just anyway, I won't badmouth that person. It took a long time to get into like remember my name, but I was very persistent with it because I think it would be a great way to be local, right? So get in there, see if they have events, see what you can do, maybe volunteer. Because if they want to carry your book, you actually get paid for that. Like we can't, but I mean, on one hand, we can't think ideal reader will always bring in all the money. It's okay that you find ideal readers at the library because guess who will probably talk about the book that they just read is the person who reads a lot, who will then go to their friend and say, I found this book. I loved it. Maybe they live in another state and they either buy it or they get their library to carry it. Do not neglect those little steps in finding your ideal readers. It's also a great place to, again, find who your ideal reader is not, or
well, yeah, and find where there's local book, who's in book clubs, who's doing book
yes.
clubs, and can
How
you
are you going
talk
to find
get
them
book
otherwise?
clubs? Yeah, book clubs, and remember, you never pay to go to a book
Yes,
club.
please don't answer those
Please
emails.
don't ever pay to go to a book
No,
club.
ever.
Most of the time, they are begging for an author to come because it's kind of out of the ordinary.
It will be
And
either free or they will pay you by buying your books.
your
Do not
books.
pay to appear. That is a scam.
But book clubs are a beautiful thing because I have known women that have been involved with like 6, 7 book clubs at one time. And
Yes.
there's bigger book clubs. There's some that do just only these type of books, this genre, blah, blah, blah. But once you have done, an appearance or whatever it is, I have a friend that she probably does book club appearances, golly, at least one a month. And
Mhm.
so and they love it. They have fun. There's maybe 20 people there, 15 people. So it's not that intimidating if you are talking about your work or whatever. Um, and it's just a really good thing to do because they'll recommend you.
Yes,
They
they
will
will.
recommend you. And you don't necessarily have to be in person. You can be on Zoom because a
These
lot of them
days,
read
everyone knows how to do
virtually.
Zoom. I mean,
Yes.
and really, unless you are somebody who moves every year, if you've been in, you have no excuse to not find those. So, yes, you can find ideal readers online, but I think a lot of times we focus so much online and they become very faceless. I think when you can have the faces to the people, they become so much more real, which goes back a little bit to that problem of like I'm not interesting. You will find how interesting you are when you are actually either Zoom face to face or face to face
Mhm.
with people, just talking. And even even at the book fairs that don't aren't the biggest deal, if you just talk to people, you will become that person that they remember. Oh, my friend, wanted to read this book. I remember this one author that I was talking to. You never know. So please do not neglect finding them in your neighborhood, literally.
So then if we go back to social media for a second,
Okay. Because they are going to want to know about social
yeah, how
media.
do you find people on social media? How do you know where your ideal reader's hanging out? And
Mm,
again, this is some research that has to be done, but we've talked about looking at someone who's successful in your genre and looking at their social media, if they have a group, joining their group,
oh
and
yeah.
then just listen.
Yep.
You don't have to participate. Just listen to what people are talking about and what they're saying and what they're looking for. And one thing that I found that I love this thing is I'm in several different groups. And when somebody says, "What are you reading? I need a recommendation." And then all of a sudden, all these books just start popping up. And it's like,
Yep.
as a matter of fact, there was something on Instagram the other day about closed door romances, and it had a list of new closed door romances, and Cats was on there. And I said, I would read this one because I know her,
Yes, I
you know?
know.
Anyway, there are just things out there that you don't have to necessarily, you know, I'm going to do everything in this group, but just listen.
Yeah.
Listen
Well,
to see what people are doing.
and this
And
goes
that's
back
for
to what you say of don't start marketing when your book first just comes out. This is why you start
when you
beforehand.
start
If we were
writing.
going to do it right, if anyone like, and it's not like we can't, start now. Obviously, you're going to want to start now, but it is best to do it with some
In the
time, right?
beginning.
Because I have joined maybe 100 Facebook groups, and then slowly but surely you leave the ones that are not the right place for you. You
Mhm.
have to have that time, um, knowing where they are, where they're not, learning as you go. So if you
Yeah.
give yourself that time, you're not going to be feeling overwhelmed.
And this doesn't just apply to writers. This applies in marketing in general. You can have a great product. Like I could put together a program and be like, oh, this is so good. And I've had Kat look at it, and other different coaches have looked at it and gone, this is great. And I go, perfect. I'm launching it tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of response do you think? It's going to be crickets.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, there's been no expectation, there's been no buildup, there's been nobody knows I'm doing this. Then it could be the best program in the world and it's not going to succeed because you have to have some lead time. You have to create some audience. You have to let people know what you're answering. What is the thing that they need and how are you answering that need? And that's the same thing that your ideal reader. I want to read an author that does this, this, and this. If you're that author, you have to tell that ideal reader, hey, I'm your writer over here.
Yep, mine is coming out soon. There
Yeah.
there is that little bit of a balance in intimidation factor. I think when it's not finished, but you kind of have to just get over that. I mean, I wouldn't, there's nothing wrong with saying, I sat down to write the very first line of my book. I'm going to write a book. There's nothing wrong with that at all. But if you're probably not going you're learning a lot at the same time. I'm not sure. You better know, what is happening. But once you've already gotten the first draft, once you really are in it, you are going to write this book. You are going to be an author. This is what you're doing. You, you have to start figuring this stuff out that we're talking about. That would be your ideal situation, that you have a writer. I'm in this book. This is what I'm writing about. This is who I am. I have my core. This is the ideal reader. I'm like, I want my book to, and again, like this is not what I did, but if I could go back, I would do it like that. Exactly like
Well,
that.
and I think, and again, we're talking about that journey of
Yeah.
I'm writing a book and it's about second chances. And, I'm halfway through the book and I'm writing so many hours a day and I'm finding that there's something missing and I don't know what that is. And my character's not taking the reader. If I'm a reader that wants closed door, slow burn, and I see Kat talking about writing this book that's hitting all of my buttons, I'm going to listen to what she has to say. And as she's going through and writing this book and hitting barriers or doing something great or having that day, what's my cupcake on the couch day where she just she can't handle it anymore, right? Needs a break. I'm following her and I'm getting more and more invested in what she's doing and what this book is going to be when she puts it out, when it's actually out there and can come into
Yeah.
my hands.
And then your ideal reader's already there and they're waiting for
Mhm.
it. So do
Yeah.
don't leave it to the last minute for sure.
Yeah.
Like and know that
And
you
don't
have.
be and don't be afraid to engage with people who are your ideal reader. When you find them, when you find where they hang out, and we keep getting off this topic, but one of the things, there's all kinds of things. There's Bookstagram, there's Reddit genre communities, there's BookTube
Reddit
channels,
is
there's
actually a
Book
pretty
Talk,
good place to go.
Pinterest as well.
Pinterest
Um,
as well. And again, this goes into having that time to do it and finding them and being able to narrow down who your people are. Um, so yeah, you have everything online is is fair game, right? But if you can just figure out if that's where your people are, they might not be where you think they are. You might have to try a few different places
Yeah, and you have to without like you can go down the rabbit hole on this and you can spend
too.
hours and hours and hours and hours going to different places and looking at different forums and groups and all of that. Um, so you have to have a little bit of discipline with that and really kind of think about where do I think would be the first five places that they would hang out, And if you have a theme in your story, if you're writing a romance that um, has a hobby in it. It's got reference to cooking. It's got music in it. It's got knitting. It has firemen. I don't know. You look at that and go, okay, that's a hobby. Well, firemen aren't a hobby.
Hmm.
Well,
Are
we
they
won't get
though?
onto that. Yeah, that's like, oh, firemen. But you all understand what I'm saying. If you can narrow down that, then you can start going to groups of people who do this. So
Mm-hmm.
cooking groups, knitting, painting, I don't know, book clubs we've already talked about. Go to these spaces where these people are,
Yeah.
and because, if I love knitting and you've got, you're writing a rom-com about an owner of a knitting store and the rude guy across the street who hates yarn,
I think somebody did that.
maybe that's where I'm pulling that from. I don't know.
Is that
But
Penny somebody? I mean, a lot of writers actually have a lot of fun with this sort of thing, like
yes.
adding it together. So there's a couple different things that where you can find your ideal reader, whether you're starting out or whether you've kind of already started and now you're working backwards. But like you said, there's so many places to go. I would start between 3 and 5. If you're really starting from zero, 3 to 5. And my top would be finding other authors to collaborate with and ask questions from. Like
Yes.
that would help you not go down the rabbit hole. Like
And
for sure.
people, I learn something new from Kat every time we talk. She has so much knowledge about the publishing industry, you know, formatting your books, what works on Amazon, what doesn't work, what happens on Book Talk, I mean, it's like, I am just like, how did she learn all of that stuff? Because she
And
knows
too
a
much
lot and
time
it's
on it.
very impressive. It's like, but it's years and years of going through this and figuring out what works for her and all this knowledge that she's gained. And I will tell you this. If you asked Kat a question, she wouldn't be like, "Oh, I'm not going to tell you. Go
Yeah.
find out yourself." No, she's going to be like, "Let me tell you,
I'll
this is
be
what I know."
brutally honest. Don't
Yeah,
bother with Substack.
don't bother with that thing because it doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
So people like to mentor, people like to help.
Mhm.
And certainly if I ask Kat a question and she gives me the answer that I need, it always ends up being more than that. It always ends up being some type of cross information that happens. And we talk about experiences that we've had or something else. And there's more to it than just going, Kat, can you tell me how to do blah, blah, blah? And she's like, oh God, Becky, again, didn't I tell you that 5 times already? But we have enjoyable conversations, and
Yeah.
that's what you'll end up having.
Yeah.
Ask people and talk to them, and
Yes.
you will probably be surprised that well, you shouldn't be, but you will, that you have knowledge that they don't have.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's where it all
Yep.
just
It
starts
helps.
to get built. You're building and it's getting bigger and bigger, and you are all helping one another. And there's a ton of knowledge out there, and share what you have, and people will share back with you.
Yes.
That's that's
And
part of it.
you try things, you meet people. I know a lot of people that we've tried stuff together, it doesn't work. There's no hard feelings, it's fine. You keep going, you try something else. You have to put yourself out there. I would do number one as finding other authors and collaborating with them, watching them, following with them, being part of their art group, seeing like you will
Mhm.
learn by being part of it, then going locally, and then we're always on the internet, so pay attention a little bit. Don't just be scrolling. Pay attention to what people are doing, what people are talking about, what books people are talking about. um, don't be afraid to try, but also have the guts to drop something that's not working. Like, don't chase after
Yes.
something that's not working over and over and over again, or something
And
that just
that,
doesn't vibe with you. I can't figure out Pinterest to save my life other than to save recipes. And so I just don't do it. Like, and don't be sidetracked by people who are like, you have to do this. If you find time to figure it out properly, okay. But you have to be able, we just I have a whole list here, like of 10 places that you could go. You have to only go where
yeah.
you can figure it out, where you feel good. Do not think that you have to do it all and drop the ones that
And
aren't
one
working.
thing of that I will say from our coaching experience is um, being a new coach and starting my own business and learning all of these different things. That group of coaches that can give you support, or that group of writers, makes it so much more fun. I can be very upset about something that I'm having trouble with, or an experience, or something has flopped, it hasn't worked. And I can reach out. And again, like my friend that likes to vent on the phone, there's people there who understand my frustration and who will listen to me and who can help me or not help me, depending on what the situation is. But I know that they're there. And
Yeah.
then we have fun.
Yeah.
And then we do things like, oh, well, you know what? Why don't we get on a call and we'll all learn how to do
Yeah.
Pinterest together?
Yeah.
Or
And you're
let's
not
see what,
alone. Yeah.
and you're not alone. And it's huge. It makes all the difference in the world, because when you feel like you're isolated, it's really hard to get things done sometimes, because you
Yes.
just keep hitting that wall again and again and again. And unfortunately, as humans, we're like, I've done everything I can. But you're doing the same thing over and over again, and
Except
you're
that
not
you're
getting any different result, which, is the definition of insanity.
ooh.
So, it is like, oh, who do
Yeah.
I know?
That's
Or
what
who
that's
or who can I call and go, this is what I need. Do you know anybody? Oh yeah, I
yes.
got you.
That is why number one I would put collaboration with other
Yeah.
authors.
Because
Absolutely.
the thing is, as Kat said before, in this challenging world that we're in, we need each other.
Yeah.
We've always needed each other, but sometimes this internet and all of these social media things just completely separate us, and we start looking at what we think is real and it's not.
Yeah.
And so we
Yeah. We're just
need,
chasing that.
yeah, we're chasing something that is not there.
Hmm.
Um, and so having people that you can lift up, that can lift you up, that you can talk to. I'm not saying that they will solve all your problems, because that's not going to happen. You got to do this. You're writing your own book, but
Hmm.
there is support, and having that network of support is huge. It's huge. And I can't even stress enough why we all need that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because we think we're fine and we think that we're doing everything that we can, but then once we start getting back around people again and we start talking with people and we're being honest with people, we realize that this is much better
Yes.
than trying to
Yes.
do everything on my own and,
So much
never
better.
wanting to admit that I need help.
Yeah. Oh my
Just
gosh. No,
it doesn't
no,
work. It doesn't work.
exactly.
Um,
Exactly.
so we have all these different places on this exercise sheet that's in the show notes, and then will be on my website as well for y'all to do. And then what else are we covering today? I know we haven't really done
We
a
already did our mindset reset, and we have to tell everyone that the live is going to be June 12th at 3 p.m. Eastern. We are trying a different time, just and day. See if you guys like that better. And we are going to have you sign up through the TidyCal link because that we just haven't figured out a better way to do it. That's just it is what it is. I will say if you unsubscribe from my newsletter, you won't get like you will get the reminders from TidyCal. They will send you the reminders, but you won't get the extra reminders that I give, which is fine. But just know that, you know, don't complain. That's what I'm gonna say. You will get the TidyCal
Don't
Zoom link
complain.
reminders, but you won't get the extra reminders from me. Again, totally fine.
But we did this before and it was fun and we learned a lot and we had some good questions.
Yeah.
We'll talk about anything. Bring a friend. Let's fill this
Yeah.
Zoom room up. I mean, it
Yeah.
would be so much fun. If you've got a writer friend, hey, this is how you can start your collaboration with other writers.
Yeah, it is. Oh,
Yeah.
we could add that maybe. We will have the form up for questions as well. Once you sign up, you'll get a link to that form that you can send in your questions early if you want. But the point of the live is to be talking about the things that we've talked about. So really like do the exercises for the ideal reader as much as you can. And then if so that you can have a specific question about them, because we're not going to just reteach what we have already taught. We can review stuff, but we can't spend 90 minutes
But bring other questions too. If there's something
yeah.
that you want to know,
Yeah.
we'll give it our best shot.
Or bring a resource if you have a resource we haven't talked about. We'll check it out.
Yeah. And
Uh,
there's always the opportunity in the chat. I might be wrong, but Kat will correct me. If you want to put in the chat, I would like to collaborate. I would like to create a group. I would like to have
mhm.
a support buddy or an accountability partner. Then there's your opportunity.
Yep. It will be writers coming
It
in,
will,
and it was
yeah,
really fun last time. So,
it
uh,
was. It
so
was super fun.
we will have that to sort of finish off the year. What are we talking about next month for the episode? Is it?
Well, June is the last live, and
Yeah.
that so we will come back after what, July?
Yeah.
I don't know. We haven't figured that out. We are very organized, but we kind of are pantsers.
Oh, we're very pantsers. But the
Yeah.
marketing is changing. I mean, we're going to have a lot of links for you in the show notes for where you can start out. I am again going to put the link to my newsletter course. You guys, we talk about newsletters a lot. I don't think we talk too much this time, but we do. Like, newsletter is also where you're going to nurture your ideal reader. So you need to start your newsletter. You need to be confident in that. So if you have newsletter questions as
Questions or you
well,
need ideas, or we talked a lot about that in the conversation before we started
yeah,
taping because I listened to a coach writer today have some really great ideas about newsletters and how to write emails to your list that are personal and
yeah. So we can
very
give a lot of
tailored. Yeah.
we
Yeah.
can point you in the right direction, right? So um ideal reader is definitely important. If you didn't listen to last week on how to identify the ideal reader, you're going to want to listen to that. Please download the worksheets. Becky spends time making these specifically for you guys to help you. That is the whole point, to help you understand this. And I think everyone talks
And
about
hey,
ideal readers. You just need to keep chipping
but
away.
these are actually the thing is, these are for listeners of the podcast because I do them, in my coaching, I would be using these.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys are getting them for free
For free.
because
So
we
do
love
that.
Cat and we love this podcast and it's super duper fun. And so You should take advantage of
Yeah. Yes.
all of these exercises that we're giving you because
Yes,
we're
please
giving
do
them to
that
you.
because come fall, we have a couple things in the pipeline that we would like to do, but we need you guys to sort of be on the same page as far as marketing goes. So, what we want you to do this week is to figure out one thing, one or two things, new things. Maybe they're a
Yes.
little scary to find out where who your ideal reader is, to make those and where they are hanging out.
So the last part of this worksheet is 3 places. You can do 3 to 5 places that you are going to go look for your ideal readers in the next 90 days. And then what is your first small step? So you say, this week I will do
Maybe
something,
something.
but write it down, make it a contract with yourself.
And
You
then
put it
come
on
to the live and
paper,
tell us if you did it.
tell us what you
That you
did.
did, that you did do it.
Yeah, that you did do it. And I will bring my wand and maybe I'll wear my tiara too. I don't know. We'll just have to
and
figure it
we'll
out.
and we'll congratulate you. Um, so we hope to see you guys June 12th, 3 p.m. Link is in the show notes. The show
We'll
notes is
have
going to
fun
be
and we'll
funny.
celebrate wins because we're going to talk
Yes,
about all the good stuff that happens
all
because
the good
that's what
things.
it's about. Good stuff.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Thank you, Becky,
Oh,
for
you're
coming
welcome.
and
Thanks for
chatting
having
with
me
me.
again.
All
Thanks
right.
for
We'll see
listening,
you guys
everybody.
next time.
All right. Bye.
Bye.